Hey guys, Lancer here. I'm going to make a really quick video. I haven't actually been posting for the last couple of days, but I've been busy as well, so my schedule might change from what I promised. Anyways, I want to talk about taking profits on almost anything, but obviously most of the people that are on my channel are going to be looking at reserve list or magic cards in general. But Alpha Investments, Rudy, just did a video of his old forum conversations, and I kind of want to go through that because a lot of people think, especially nowadays, that holding something forever is a good investment plan. And it's not a bad idea, but there's always going to be cycles. Like it goes there's fear and greed. So people at some point there will be a price where people will sell because they know that a lot of other people might look at that price and be like, this is a point where everyone should be selling. So the price then comes back down. It might not ever come back down to the lowest point, but then you can sell back in and go up the wave. It's usually not a good idea to do this. And I'm saying that as especially the way the world is looking right now. I'm not saying this is advice. I'm not saying that this is what I'm going to be doing. This is just an idea on when people can take profits and what taking profits actually means, when or how people value, like a percentage. What percentage do people normally take profits? What's been said to take profit? So, what I was looking at is in the conversation that Rudy was having, he was saying that Mahamoti Jin is worth 4,000. I assume that's the alpha PSA 10, whatever. I cannot find a PSA 10, by the way. So the closest I could find were a couple of these. So this is a PSA 9 alpha 2021, February 999. Another one for 999. That might be the same one. This one, which is not saying prices, so I'll just go and check that. 1,116 for a beta version. I guess that's a PSA 9. PSA 10s are hard. Like I can't find any. PSA 8 for 8499. 849, sorry, for a beta. And then there's some prices for PSA 10s, just generic PSA 10s. What price are they getting? There's a big premium. There is a premium for them. They're pretty much double the price of a PSA 9 in almost every single category I was saying. So if a PSA 9 is selling for about $3,000, which this PSA 9.5 beta is, there has a listing price of 3,699, which means that the actual PSA 10, if it ever comes out, might be able to fetch $5,000 or something crazy like that. But the forum post was in 2008. Now I don't know if this guy ever sold, but the conversation is very interesting because there's a lot of conversation about at what price people will pay. And even Rudy, and he's called himself a Timmy, and he didn't have as much money. It really does depend on what you consider valuable at that time. If you want to put a deposit in for a house, which I think is actually not a bad idea if you can rent out two of the rooms, kind of what I was trying to do, or you could move that money into something that's got less inflated because 2021 has been pretty crazy for a lot of things. And people move that money usually into something else that's undervalued, and then they can ride that up again, keep going up the ladder. It is true that 2021 is weird. 2020 and 2021 has caused an issue where inflation is something a lot of people are expecting. Interest rates are still pretty low, even if they are creeping up. The US dollar, which almost everything is categorized against, is not doing well, and its future doesn't look too well. And there's a chance that it might spike to 94 in the next couple of weeks, 2 months. But that's mostly just because it dropped so fast that it's pretty much oversold. And at some point, people had to take profits from that drop and then, start getting out the people that are shorting because that's what happens. But long term, I think cards will, or collectibles and things that are deflationary in the fact that, they have value and they are worth something, will probably go up. Now, I'm rambling in this video, but what I want to say is Rudy was talking about how he had an offer, the highest offer he's ever received, 2,600. There's a guy, Thalnant, sorry if I'm actually pronouncing it right, but he's just saying, like, yeah, 2,600, I'd sell that for my PSA 10 for that. I've not no idea if he actually would, but you never know at what price you're going to sell. Now let's look at what professionals say about this. So professionals say there is a take profit a limit. Now, this is going back to stop loss and everything like that. So I'm not going to probably worry too much about this now. I'm not going to worry about that. Profit taking. Profit taking is the act of selling a security. Now, this is, now remember, guys, we are talking about a collectible. It's a bit different because there's more risk, but there's also more reward. There's less of it. Opportunity if there's higher interest, the prices will spike by a lot more. But at the same time, a couple of whales can also sink the ship. It's just one of those things. Until enough people have enough of it, a couple of people can sink the ship if they decide to sell. If someone like Rudy, there's a couple of jokes online where people call Rudy like the central MTG reserveless stock bank, where he can dictate via his press conferences that he puts up every week, every day, on how the prices and the stability of the markets in some ways. And really, he can actually have an impact. If, like I said, even 1% of the 300,000 people that are watching, if he gets a view of 30,000 per video and like 1% decides to go and buy out all the stock in a certain card because they have a couple of $1,000s lying around, that's just 300 people or something. So it's not that many. So from my mind, a lot of these things, you kind of have to take it as it comes. And that's why I'd be very careful about, if you're betting on the prices to continue riding up for the next 10, 20 years, you're betting on the economy going into an inflation system situation that's not going to be good. But it's always a good idea to spread out your assets in some ways so that you're not all in on one thing. But, not financial advice. So take profit taking can affect profit taking. Cash out and gains in security that has rallied since the time of purchase. Now, I bought my cards in June, July. June, July. I started buying in April and June, April, May, June, July. So May, June, July, I started buying. Like I started buying one per month. Like I bought one in April, and I'm like, man, that was addictive. I'm gonna buy a couple more. So I bought like a couple more straight after that because I just saw the prices going up. And then after I got all of them except for the Tiger, which I really regret, but by the time I got to the Tiger, it's gone almost up by 30%. So, or more than that. Now it's actually probably double that. But I just couldn't, I didn't want to pay for that. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So I stopped at the Tiger and I'm like, eh. Now I'm probably just going to save up until I can get the Tiger, no matter what the price. Actually, I take that back. I'll probably get it at some point, but when it starts stabilizing. But one of the most important things to remember is when you take your profits, you want to make sure that you don't take it all. You can play with the house's money in some ways. And once again, if you have your cards in a deck and you don't want to break that apart, I know that feeling. Some of those cards I have, the ones that I actually think are valuable reserveless cards, I don't have many of them, but they are in decks and I don't really want to take them apart. And even if I forget that I have them, it's just sitting in decks. Like I don't need the cash on hand right now. Another thing that is something that they teach, well, they don't teach this, it's just something that you learn quite pretty quickly, is to not stop taking profits until things actually start changing in the trend. So you don't want to take profits too early. Now, I've made this mistake once, and one of them was, it's not in Magic because Magic is a bit less liquid, but crypto, it's very easy to take profits. I know if it goes up by 100%, you're like, okay, take time to take profits, and then it goes up by another 500%, you're like, well, damn it. And you don't feel like writing it until it comes back down because every other indicator is saying, hey, it's gone, it's overbought. But that doesn't really mean much because it can just continue going straight up because that's what crypto does sometimes. So there is the term letting your profits run or letting your winners run, which is helpful at this point because right now, as much as this video is about profit taking, because of the way the governments around the world and central banks are behaving, letting your profits run is pretty much letting inflation carry your collectibles as it becomes more valuable than currency. Or, sorry, it becomes more valuable compared to the currency that it was when you bought it, and obviously inflates up with the price. It's the same reason why you'd want to get assets of any kind. The only thing is gold and silver are behaving really weird, so unfortunate if you collect those. But crypto and all the other assets that you would expect to be liquid are absorbing a lot of the cash that's being printed in and put into the economy, or at least thought to be printed and put into the economy. Currently, I'm still not too sure. Everyone is confused about this. Even the people that are advising for magic cards or collectibles or anything, they're still confused about exactly what's going on. They're just saying, and what I say is, let it run. Let the trend continue until it stops going the way you think. And I think that in the US, you guys are getting the money at some point, like in the next day or couple of days or couple of weeks, which means another 1,400 is going to come through. Now, is that the perfect time to take profit in this short-term cycle, or is the US and the world in general going to immediately after the next stimulus around the world goes through? Are they going to immediately say, and let's start talking about the next stimulus? Because if they do that, boy, that'll make things go even crazier than they are, because they'll just devalue all the currencies so much more. Now, there was a place here that I was looking at which said, yes, how to how to build long-term profits in stocks. Now, once again, we're not talking about stocks, we're talking about collectibles, but collectibles can go way more than 20 to 25%. And a lot of people that are in my subscriber list are between the age of, 25 to 44. So that means a lot of people understand what the world's been doing for the last 20 years. Yeah. And what the world's been doing for the last 20 years is not what the world has been doing for the last 100 years before that, in all on. Like, it has not been. That's why so many people are having trouble predicting what's going on. So it's important to remember that central banks and governments have a lot of control about what's going on, which means they are happy at this point to inflate the economy to make sure that people have jobs. And if that's the case, then you pretty much want to make sure that 20 to 25% is not going to cut it anymore. 20 to 25% might have been great in a couple of like years ago, but it's not going to cut it anymore. But here's the problem. What is going to cut it? I'll let you guys comment below, but I feel like some of the cards I have, they've gone up more than 100%. And I think you guys have said that in just the last couple of weeks, that some of your cards have gone up way more than even like 100%. 100% probably nothing for some of these reservist cards that have gone up from $1 to $8. That's 800%. So at what point do you take profit? Even if you have no use for the card, you know it's a reserveless card, and you want to put the money into something that's more worthwhile, at what point do you take profit from some of those cards? Dual lands, forget dual lands. But some of the other cards have gone up by a huge amount. What is the take profit percentage that you, and you can comment below, what's the percentage that'll work out for you guys? And I'll admit that this is probably one of the slow videos, but I just wanted to think about it, because with Alpha Investments video, the idea of another $1,400 coming into the US economy for people that are earning less than $80,000, is this an ideal time to sell into a market that has the money to provide liquidity, provide money back to the people that have been investing a couple of months ago? Is this what the market's been waiting for? Is the market waiting for people to make some money? I don't know. I'm very interested. Anyways, guys, let me know how it goes.